everyone, Tyree here, and in today's video I'm going to do another movie review. The movie that I chose to review is a movie called The Pit and the Pendulum, which is based on a short story by Edgar Allan Poe. So I'll leave the link in the description for all of that, but basically I'm just going to summarize and then give my take on it. Okay, so basically the best way to describe this movie is that there is a torture that is issued to anyone who goes against the established power within this kind of holy setting. So basically, like, the sinners are punished, and then every torture that is administered is because they are deemed to have some kind of sorcery or magic or whatnot. And yeah, so I'm just gonna summarize the story, and then I'll kind of give my take, like my input on it, like the positives and the negatives, all that stuff. So at the beginning we have the main characters, or two of the main characters rather, Maria and Antonio, which are kind of like, they're a couple. Antonio is a baker, and I guess you could say Maria is kind of just his lover, and she assists him with the baking or whatever, but that's not really important to the story because it only happens at the beginning. And then as we progress, we see basically it's just a bunch of tortures. So like at the beginning we saw a taste of what to expect, so right from the beginning you kind of already get a sense of what the movie's going to be about, because you see the torture play out and you see how the trials work. So basically throughout the movie it's just Maria Maria at the beginning of the movie, and also Antonio, they got trapped into one of these trials because they, I guess, missed their curfew, I guess I can't really say curfew, but they missed their chance to leave, I should say, rather. And because they did, they were trapped inside of this. And then Maria, who spoke out because she felt bad for the civilians who were being tortured, actually ended up causing the whole situation to occur afterwards, which ended up being her getting trapped in prison, and then Antonio in turn tried to come and rescue her. And yeah, throughout the movie, it was Maria who basically was trapped inside of this cell, and the Inquisitor, I think that's how you pronounce it, he had a thing for her as well, so everything that she said, he kind of had like a soft spot for her, and he didn't really want to kill her, but at the same time, like, he was really evil and really corrupt, and probably the most evil character throughout the whole entire movie. He did a really good job at portraying that too. He didn't really stray away from that at all. Like, he was pretty good at playing that part. So basically there's this witch at the beginning, or she supposedly, actually, yeah, I guess you could say she's a witch. She just kind of has like this occult power, and basically she's in the cell with Maria, and she reveals to Maria that she was trapped in there because of her sorcery and whatnot, and Maria is put in there and she's completely innocent. And then throughout the movie there is the torture of many individuals through various methods of torture, such as choking and hanging and slicing, and it's a very gory movie. I think that it's an interesting horror movie because it's actual horror. Like, if this were to happen to you, you would feel the intense amount of emotion behind it. You wouldn't just brush it off, especially if you're like just viewing and you're not the actual victim. You would still feel all the intensity surrounding all this. So it definitely did a good job of portraying that. And also at the same time, me personally, these are the kind of horror movies that I tend to enjoy more because it's like actual, more realistic setting and story, where you have a killer and a victim and they're trying to escape from the killer, and like it's a more realistic take on it because that's what actual horror is. To me, the whole supernatural characteristics are just, I don't really buy it that much. It's kind of like if you're sitting in your room and you see a shadow and then your mind starts to play tricks on you and you say it's this and that and da 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 da, and yeah. But anyways, back to the movie. It was a fairly interesting movie. I won't say that it was really good, but I will say that it definitely didn't leave me bored. Like, I was definitely invested in the movie just because I really wanted to see what would happen to the main characters, if they would survive, if they would be killed, and that would be the end of it. And ultimately, what ends up happening is the torturers get tortured, which is what I thought was a pretty good twist. I'm sure the original story of this too went into more detail, but of course, with most movies, when they're adapted into a film based on a story, then that usually means that they're condensed and all that stuff. So yeah, but quite honestly, this movie was something that I could say was definitely not boring, and of course that really comes down to personal taste. Like, my personal taste, if you can keep me invested for more than 20 minutes, then you've got a pretty good movie. I won't say that it was a spectacular movie, but it definitely, like I said before, did not leave me bored at all. Like, I was very invested, and that's something I would recommend to someone. Like, if you were watching it, like, if you could really watch it and enjoy it, or you could just find it fascinating, and then it also makes you kind of curious too as to why they're showing you this. And for me, for someone who is quite invested in the occult and things that are hidden, this just goes hand in hand with that. Quite honestly, it may not be as public as it was before, but this definitely is something that probably still occurs. I wouldn't doubt it. And what movies like this like to do is they like to kind of show you that, even if it's very indirect. And in this movie, it was kind of highlighting what happens to people that go against authority. So of course now we have laws against people who do crimes, and that's their punishment. They go to prison. Some places, I guess, still have the death punishment. And yeah, so overall this movie, I gave maybe like a 6.5 out of 10. That's just my personal point of view. Just because it wasn't like a boring movie, but I also could see many flaws in certain areas. Like, for instance, there was a part where Antonio was tied to a board and an axe was swinging, and then when it finally got to the bottom, it sliced him, but somehow he managed to live, which I just didn't understand, because something of that width and that sharpness, I think, like, if that even grazed him, like, that would cause a lot of internal damage as well as external damage. So but of course it's a movie, so I mean, like, there's a lot of realities that just get thrown in there, and it's not really realistic, and that's fine. I understand it's an act, but at the same time, the positives I can say for this movie are the care at the end for human nature. Like the ending was literally everyone was set free, and even the people that were against the prisoners were on their side at the end, because they realized that their torturer was just a huge manipulator and that a lot of people were just innocent. So he ended up dying in a kind of karmic way, and then in turn all the prisoners were set free, and the guards didn't give a shit. They just let everyone go, and that was that. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, like, I would definitely recommend this to anyone. At least just watch it once. You may enjoy it, you may not. I personally didn't think it was too bad. It's not, and of course it comes down to your personal preference as well. Like, if you're not into the gory stuff, then this probably isn't the movie for you. But for me, for someone who kind of enjoys the horror theme, I don't mind it at all. Like I said, I could still pick at certain things that just didn't work. And if you watch this movie, then of course you could probably see it for yourself as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have to go into a long detail for this because you could always watch the movie or read the short story or whatnot, and then you get a full perspective on it yourself. This is just me summarizing what I saw, what I noticed, what I enjoyed, what I didn't, and yeah. Okay. So if you guys enjoyed this, stay tuned for more videos. Maybe give me a subscribe, share it around, message me, comment, anything really. And yeah, stay tuned for more. Peace.